Hello YouTube. Thanks for clicking on my video. This is the first of what I'm hoping to be 52 videos for the year. I want to try to take a look at doing a design a week, and coincidentally this Sears catalog home that I found on a website archive is number 52, but I don't think I'm going to be doing all of them as just iterations of a catalog home from 1908, but in this case I figured it was a good place to start just to get the habit of doing it, and then just trying to, my main goal is to do speed builds and do a video a week where I take a concept or some sort of idea and build a project out of it, most likely a home or some sort of interesting relevant design, and just fast forward through the whole process. This one in particular, I thought of this idea. Well, I've been thinking about this idea for a very long time, doing some sort of YouTube video related to architecture, but it kind of clicked on me a couple of days ago of recording this. I think I'm recording this on a Sunday, but I thought of this, I think, like Thursday, and set up everything, got everything going, and decided to just try to wing it in one day. I spent about 6 hours modeling this project, just obviously taking, I guess my workflow is, do 30 minutes of work, take like a 15-minute break kind of thing, come back to this. So the screen recording, the whole actual production part, excluding some parts where I just really spent way too much time on that didn't even make the video. It's about 6 hours, but for the final model purposes, this was about maybe 4. But yeah, this is the first home I found in the website archive that I thought was kind of a neat idea to try to take this and adapt it to our modern way of life. There's things in the first floor plan and the second floor plan that just wouldn't make any sense in our lifestyle today, but back then obviously it made perfect sense. In the original plan, there's a bedroom on the first floor. The kitchen is all the way in the back, kind of hidden. I guess back then, obviously, people didn't really care for the kitchen. They just wanted to get guests in the dining room, get served food. I'm guessing one of these rooms, there's 4 bedrooms on the second floor. I'm guessing one of them is a servant's bedroom. But that's just the way people lived back then. In any case, I took some liberties with adapting some of the room layouts on the first floor, trying to, I didn't model it in this video, but I was thinking a half bath underneath the stairs would be a good solution to the no bathroom situation for the original plan. So stuff like that. The stair arrangement was kind of neat. There's stairs leading to the basement from the kitchen, and then stairs right at the entry. So that entry corner seemed like a good opportunity. Later on, you'll see that I try to make it a big, large lit area, large foyer, double height. And then the back end there, I was thinking, I'm putting walls in now, but after you'll see that I thought just opening it up with the future possibility of having glass all along the interior side of the stairs and the exterior, so the kitchen would be lit up. Just things like that I guess while modeling the plan, I realized I didn't have enough time in one day to really detail this house out. So modeling the plan and making the changes to it was really just to influence the exterior design and see what kind of modern, minimalist exterior design would come out of that. I play a lot with the geometries back and forth. It's kind of my workflow. It doesn't really make sense. You'll see that I jump from interior to exterior, but I've been doing this for 10 years now for commercial work, just doing concept stuff. And what I've realized, and I think I learned in this video the most, is that jumping from one part to another wasn't just because that's kind of, it was hard to describe, but it wasn't just because it's just bouncing around like some sort of lack of attention or just disinterest, but actually, I guess now that I'm saying it kind of is, because I went to some other part of the project to continue to get inspired and say, like, what kind of possibilities did this move I make just create for the exterior? And it's a back and forth between keeping myself motivated, keeping myself interested in the project by wanting to see the whole thing come together simultaneously or piece by piece, but the interior, exterior, walls, floors, everything kind of coming up together, balanced out, versus doing one thing at a time. Like, for example, the first floor layout, if I were to do that all at once, probably would lose motivation, not knowing what the exterior would look like. So this is almost like a simultaneous sketching, 3D modeling, and designing all in one. And there's some downsides to that too. A lot of things get deleted and never seen again. I don't keep saved files of version 5, version 6, version with X roof, blah blah blah. I've seen that before, and I prefer to be a one file version kind of person. So that's the downside to my workflow. Some things will get lost and never seen again, or maybe I'll come back to them and they'll be completely different. But in any case, the whole point of this for me was to just get inspired a little bit more with design and have a little bit more autonomy and a little bit more agency with what a project was going to become without having a client, but having constraints. And the Sears home catalog floor plans being the constraints for me. I don't think I succeeded too well with this first one. I think this was sort of a pilot study for me, just seeing how it would work. And I also crammed it all in one day. Going forward, I think I'm going to try to plan out the next one this coming week and having a solid sort of strategy for a full week of maybe floor plan, generating some concepts from reference images, and then spending 3 days doing the base model, and then putting the last couple days for a little bit more effort on some of the detailing, materials, and I guess floor plans, tweaking a little bit. In any case, this still was kind of fun as more of a YouTube project, less so of an architectural project. But I think the biggest hurdle for me with coming up with something worth watching, I guess for you guys, is to get it done, get something done, and start somewhere. So this somewhere was a very reactionary, instinctual kind of design project. I didn't really put any mind to what I was planning on doing for the exterior. That's probably why you're going to see at the end, it just kind of came out a little bit more minimalist and not so detailed out for the exterior. But from a conceptual level, I probably would revisit this in the future. I think there's a lot of cool opportunities here, but they definitely didn't end up being fleshed out. But that's okay. I just, this is a speed build and see what I could come up with in 5 or 6 hours. So, well, that's it. Sorry. I had to take a drink of water there. Second floor was probably the biggest time sink for this project, because looking at their layouts, they only had one bathroom. There wasn't really a master bedroom defined, and the closets were really small. So for today's standards, obviously back then it made more sense the way it was laid out, but from today's point of view, I try to adapt it to giving some more closet space. I probably spent a little bit too much time on closet space, but obviously for good reason. I think that's a big part what people look for in their homes. We have a lot more stuff these days, so just want to store that. And there was no walk-in closet opportunity for the master bedroom, but I did get a master bath in there. It's pretty hefty size. I wish I would had more time to lay out the fixtures, but we're just gonna have to say that the first bath, the master bath is a 8x8, and the one by the stairs for everybody to use is, I think, 8x6. So, typical size, but obviously didn't get the opportunity to flesh it out, make it beautiful. In any case, the 2 other bedrooms, pretty easy to lay out once I figured out where I wanted people to enter. And there's obviously they're mirrored, so there wasn't a lot of work involved. And I guess it obviously reflects, you'll see it reflects the outcome of the exterior, because that sort of mirrored strategy I took, just kind of didn't pay too much attention to them. It's going to reflect on the back end of this design, and the back end of the design is what I'm least happy with. I'm just not satisfied with the way it turned out. So we'll just say that the owner, or whoever this project, they ran out of money on the back end, so they put all the good stuff up front. That's the story behind this. I guess you'll see here now. I think I'm pretty much solid with the layout of the interior. So now I get to the part where I kind of have a little bit more fun in having constraints with what I can do on the exterior and what I can't do, and punching out holes, punching out daylighting opportunities, aligning things together. I think that's where I find a lot of bit more of a sort of flow work state, a lot more relaxing once the tedious parts are figured out. The exterior kind of just pops up, really. And I guess from an experience perspective, a lot of this is just sort of instinctual, just doing whatever I can that I know kind of works. And this is without having any benchmarks or precedents or influence to the design. This is kind of just this is experience, just kind of playing out at that point. And it's not a lot to show for it, right? Because it's minimalist. I didn't have a lot of detail opportunities. There's probably a lot of canopies, louvers, wall treatments that I could have changed up, but I started kind of running out of time here, and I wanted to get this video out. So yeah, minimal is the way to go when there's no time. But yeah, I guess there I go, jumping back into the interior again, figuring out a couple more things. Closet space, that's important to everybody, right? That's a linen closet or whatever. Well, there's multiple of them. Yeah, I guess I added a bunch into the bathrooms and the hallway. And then I make this ridiculous roof here that I luckily at least rotate around, but I'm really not happy with what I decided to do for either of the roofs. Definitely not the selling point of the house here. And really the entry is probably the only fascinating part of this house. The rest is kind of bare. There's really nothing going on at all on the other sides other than the front entry. But at least, I think it was an exercise in me too, just getting into the workflow. What I'm doing now, what I was just doing there was fixing my model in layers and organizing. I think that's important when you're doing 3D models, is just staying organized with your objects, your masses, and your groups. So I did that. It has no relevance to the video, but it's part of my workflow, so it's a force of habit, really, to put things in groups, layers. What else? Yeah, I guess there's really not much at this point other than just going through, dropping windows in. I'll probably fast forward through a lot of this just so you can see the end result, but I wanted to be able to show the full workflow. And yeah, there's some instances where I spent way too much time trying to tweak the size of things. I think it's just another force of habit, because when I'm doing concept models for work, they have to kind of make sense a little bit, but jumping into something for residential, I don't really have a lot of experience with it, so I just put something together. Like this case, for example, a door frame. I didn't really need to do that. In some cases, if I was doing interior renderings or walking through the building for something a little bit more high-end, you would want to see that. But for the video, I really could have done without a lot of these details, and just done maybe even 2D. In any case, that's just how I work. It's a learning experience to make a bunch of mistakes all in one night, and then realize that it wasn't the deliverable wasn't what I thought it was, right? Because I'm making a video describing the workflow and doing a speed build. a lot of the things I modeled weren't relevant to that, but going forward, hopefully in the long term, you'll see that I save a lot of time and effort not picking colors out right off the bat, but doing and expediting modeling work a lot better. In any case, this is just kind of the workflow that I have going for me. There's that roof again that I can't stand to see. Did it twice. Yeah, I'm gonna flip around to the back. We'll get all the water pouring out to the back end of the house. That makes better sense for a cheap one-day design. And there's that window where I wanted to make sure that it started in one room and continued ribboned into the other. In this case, it starts in the I think the stair hallway, and then it goes into partially into the bathroom, which I think is kind of neat, to get some daylighting in the bathroom, but also be part of the exterior design without being too obvious of a punch out. And then, yeah, just a lot of time saving stuff I did here. I just said forget it, I'll just copy a lot of these original windows. The first window I made, I copied it and modified them rather than creating them all from scratch every time. And to be honest, I do that with work. I don't know why I did it here. I guess I just, when you're making a video for someone to see, it changes the way you're modeling. It's almost like somebody's over my shoulder. So, and there I go, I fixed the roof. Finally, something that doesn't look so ridiculous from the side there. It still looks ridiculous, but at least it made a little bit more sense coinciding with the back end of the house. And then finally getting to some sort of material. This is definitely not my best work, if at all any good, but at least it gives some sense of modernity. I don't know how to say that word. To the design, adapting a 1908 home to an exterior that you would find in a little bit more high-end neighborhoods. These two windows on the back end here are just the worst, but I guess they worked out in plan better than they did in the exterior elevation. And then that bare exterior elevation there, I'm trying to just add a little differentiation of materiality, just to kind of, I guess, not look so bare. And I find that with a lot of homes, even not modern homes, but a lot of just stick-built homes or just cookie-cutter homes here where I live, or anywhere else really in the U.S. There's, you find a lot of walls where there's just punched-out windows, boom, 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 and you're kind of relying on the fact that that's not the main entry of the home being the prominent feature, and the rest is sort of just there. It makes the neighborhood look kind of funky. But I usually see it a lot more in neighborhoods that are really dense. I think neighborhoods with less density and a lot more acreage per home, or a lot more square footage of site per home, have a lot more mind put to their sides, their back ends. Either way, the goal isn't really to make a fantastic design, but just try to get something relevant to our time from a 1908 design. And I guess for those of you who don't know, I probably should have said this earlier, the Sears catalog, they would, you could just order a home from, like what you would from Amazon today, except you just would do it through the mail, snail mail. They'd send you the plans and you could buy all the materials from them, or buy some of the materials from them and pay somebody to build it yourself too. I guess they did it in a ways that you can be your own builder, and it wasn't really such a high level of a skill set required. And that to me is crazy, to think of a home as a product rather than a service, because in my time working in the industry, it's a service, and we do a lot of things now that are vastly different from the way things used to be for building homes or buildings at that matter. I think kind of towards the end here, just trying to justify a site, thinking of it as for this house's lack of design on the sides and the back end, thinking of it as a tight site. And then right there, throwing in a driveway. I think it's funny the way I did that layout first. It's like Aunt Judy would just come plowing through the living room if she didn't miss her brakes and thought it was or hit her gas thinking it was the brakes. So I'll flip that driveway later to make more sense, but it's just these little things that when you're designing, they just pop in your head, and it's just a little quirk there that keeps you motivated, I guess, because it's in a way kind of discovering all the how your building would be used aspects. It's just kind of discovering those as you're putting something together. And again, it's like thinking of the daily use, thinking of the end user while doing this sort of sketch design format, while 3D modeling, while I guess thinking about a YouTube video. There's so many things going on when you're putting something together. Moving a fence around, there's still thinking about, oh, do they really want to see the little gate there that I'm gonna put, designating this little gate? That's where the gate goes, by the way. Just two little texture changes, and yeah, that's the floor plan that I was able to do in a day, a couple hours. Setting up some views, force a habit, just to get a couple views, see the building in section, because I think that's an important part of the design. It's nice to see what your efforts kind of reveal from different views, different perspectives, and I kind of like. I think the sections do a lot of justice to the design, to the floor plans, not the design. But at least you'll see here I set up some scenes to kind of represent what the exterior design would be. This would do a lot better if it was put into a rendering program and put some foliage and landscape design and get some better textures in there. But at least in the case of this, there I lost my slab there. In the case of this project, really quick 4-hour, 5-hour thing. There it is. That's all I did. But yeah, this is the first of hopefully 52, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. Let me know what you thought. Feel free to bash the whole thing, but definitely, I guess, what do they say? Like and subscribe. But yeah, thanks for watching. Alrighty, bye-bye.